Thanks, Jason. I forgot to unmute myself. Um, Welcome. Happy Sunday. I hope you've had a great weekend. We'll start this over. My name is Robin, and I'm with Robin's A Blue Creations, and I'm also an independent designer with Chalk Couture. I am located in central Kansas, and it is quite a rainy day here today. The cooler temperatures are very welcome, but it's kind of a dreary day. So I'm glad I'm able to craft because that makes the day a little less dreary. Thanks for watching my live video or watching the replay later on. Whichever one you're watching, make sure you let me know that you're here in the comments. Say hi. Tell me where you're watching from. Jason is watching from the living room. I also wanted to let you know that I am streaming via an online platform called StreamYard. It allows me to go live in multiple destinations. So I'm currently live in 3 places: my Facebook business page, my Facebook private group, the Robin's A Blue Creations Crafty Collab. Go join if you haven't joined. And I'm also live on my YouTube channel. So if you hear me refer to comments that you may not be seeing in your feed, that might be why. Also, if you're watching from my group, make sure you give StreamYard permission to post your name. Otherwise, you come up in my comments as Facebook user, and I don't know who I'm interacting with, and I'd like to be able to interact with you by name. So thanks for that ahead of time. We are on day 3 of my Pumpkin Palooza. So Friday night, if you didn't watch, you're welcome to go back and watch the replay. I made quite a few little chalked fabric pumpkins. They are plain on the bottom, and I upcycled a pair of jeans, and I also just used some blank canvas. I chalked on the top side with silkscreen transfers and chalk paste, and then I sewed them, stuffed them, and decorated them. So make sure you go back and watch that video. Yesterday morning, we made 2 of these beaded little decor signs. They can either stand up by themselves, so you could put them in your tiered tray, or they can hang on the wall. But we used several silkscreen transfers to put some texture and dimension on the ovals as well as on the background. So cute little pumpkins. And just a hint for you local folks, these will be at CJ's this coming weekend. So I'll take them on Thursday. So go check those out. Stacia says, hello from the couch. So then today I'm going to be using Jenga Tumbling Tower blocks to make these pumpkins. So I made a bunch of these last year. We even had a class on how to make them. So I'm going to be doing that this year. Instead of just painting them, I'm also going to chalk on them to see how that works. So this is what we're going to be making today. So I have pre-painted my Jenga blocks. This is what they look like when they're all together. So you can kind of see it embellished. So that's what that looks like once we glue them together. So I have pre-painted these. And then I'm going to use various silkscreen transfers and some chalk paste to add some more texture and dimension. So we have the hello, I love you. And this is what we used yesterday on one of those ovals for the pumpkins. I have a piece of the mini buffalo plaid transfer. And then these 2 sadly are retired, but they're some of my favorites. I have the polka dots and the herringbone. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. I think I'm going to start with the herringbone. And if you haven't ever seen the Chalk Couture Stencil Transfers, they are sticky back reusable transfers. So you can use them about 8 to 12 times depending on how well you take care of them. I have written the name on the back. That way I know that this transfer goes on this backer sheet and that this is the back. So I'm just going to peel it off. Try to figure out where to put all this stuff. I think we will do this. Oh, there we go. So I kind of, as I was looking at this one, I need 4 pumpkins, and I need to chalk 4 flat sides And then I have 4 pieces and I need to chalk 4 ends. So that's how I'm kind of going about it. So I think I'm going to lay part of the transfer on top of these 4 blocks and we'll chalk them that way. And then with this, and then I'm just going to lay these kind of up here and do it kind of the same way. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even really have to match up. And let's hope that my scientific method works. So I'm going to use, we're going to use papaya, which is a darker orange, kind of a brownish orange, burnt umber, I don't know. I'm going to use shimmer copper on one, and I'm going to use shimmer pumpkin on one, just to see what kind of different colors we can get, kind of tone on tone. So for this first pumpkin, I'm going to use papaya. So I'm just going to dip my squeegee in my chalk paste. Ooh, that one's a wee bit hard. So I'm going to add some water. I have a bunch of paste that is the older formula. And if you don't use it often, it will thicken up. Sometimes it will even harden into a big rock because it is chalk in wet form. So I'm just adding some distilled water and I'm going to stir it up a little bit. I don't want it so thick that I can't spread it very easily. And the thicker it is, the faster it dries in my silk screen, and I don't want to do that either. So has everyone had a great weekend? Anybody do anything special? Go out of town, do some shopping? So I'm just dipping my squeegee in the chalk paste. Sorry you couldn't see that. Then I'm just going to drag the squeegee down the silk screen area. And if a little goes over the edge, that's not terrible. Because it is dry and because it's chalk and it dries, I can kind of just scratch it away if I don't want it on some of those ends, and I'll show you what I mean later. So there's that. And then I still have some paste on my squeegee, so I'm going to just drag it down the silk screen up here. Jason had he says he had a fantasy football draft. He actually had 2 at the same time, but that's what he and Dane did this afternoon. Dane is our 21-year-old. So I'm just going to peel and reveal. Let's see. So there's that. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because these sides are going to get glued together. So they won't even match. They don't have to match up, I guess is what I should say. So I'm just spraying that so that it stays wet until I'm able to clean it. I just clean it with warm water. There are board erasers that you're welcome to use, and they work well to clean the front side of your transfers. So here's what they look like. Really pretty tone on tone. Gives it lots of texture. On this one, I used a dark wax on it, and so it kind of gave it that aged look. Put a lid on that while I'm drying those. So we'll set those to the side. And I can show you, see it, I don't know if you can see on this edge right there, it's hanging over. So as it dries, I can just kind of push that off. So it just kind of breaks off, kind of like just a piece of chalk wood. Okay, so I'm going to put my lid on that one. Let's do the shimmer pumpkin next. So again, I need my 4 vertical, I guess that's what we can call it, my 4 horizontal. I think I'm going to use one of these pumpkin transfers patterns that we used maybe last week. I don't know whether to use the sweater or the autumn subway art. I think that might look kind of cool, actually. Let's use the sweater. It's a little more, I think I'll use the sweater. So we'll just have to do these in 2 separate passes. That's the cool thing about these transfers. Even though these are specifically made for the pumpkin cutouts, you don't have to use them for the pumpkin cutouts. Like, I'd probably use them for some of the wood earrings that I make. Just pull out that sweater pattern. They're going to be great for little Jenga pumpkins. I just need to throw that away. Okay, now I've made a mess. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I'm sure you all know what Jenga blocks are. I get this brand, and I get it from a store that's called, well, we'll refer to it as Above 4 and Below 6. I'm technically probably not supposed to say the name, but that's where I get them, and I get them for $5. So pretty inexpensive little craft. Okay, so I'm going to grab another squeegee, and I'm just going to dip it in. This is the shimmer pumpkin. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it. So I'm going to try to hold these together. I'm going to do it that way. And if I get a clean enough, scrape, then I can just lay this transfer right back down on my other blocks without having to clean it in between. So I'm just going to leave that hanging there. That's pretty. Separate those so they don't. So then I'll grab my 4 vertical ones, and I'm just going to carefully lay this down. I don't have any on the back, so I should just be able to. I just kind of press it down. Oops. Okay, now I can go ahead and bring my paste on board. So I'm just pulling it down the silk screen. I'm going to go up this way to make sure I get this edge. Okay, now I'm just going to put the excess right back in my jar so I can use it for my next project. Put my lid on. And then we'll peel and reveal. Lay this over here. Give it a little spray. Wet my hands. Where's my, oh, it's clear over here. I'd lose my head if it wasn't tied on. Okay, so here, let me show you up close. It's really hard to see. It does have the, now you can see there's a lot of, it's quite a bit of shimmer in there. So very subtle except for the shimmer. So now we're just going to dry this. Don't forget, if you're hopping on, tell me that you're here. Say hi in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. We're making some Tumbling Tower block pumpkins. This is what it looks like without all of the embellishments. This poor little guy has been sitting on my craft desk since last fall because I never got him done. Sad little guy. So hopefully he'll get all finished today. I'm just going to let these hang out. And just as a reminder, if you were drying, because those are made with shimmers, those will take a little longer to dry. I'm just going to let them dry naturally. Okay, so again, we need our 4 horizontal and our 4 vertical. I think we'll do the polka dots. Stacia says the eggshells or taupe base with the shimmer. That would be pretty. I made some cream colored ones last year, but I got to painting these earlier today and almost forgot to make a set that was not orange. So I do have, so I'll definitely take your advice because I have about, let's see, I have 2 more pumpkins worth of blocks. So these may end up cream based on your suggestion. Okay, so let's stick these down to that, this transfer down to those pumpkins pieces, and we'll stick it down. And this one we'll use the shimmer copper and see what that looks like on top of that orange base. That needs, usually your shimmers don't need water, but I have had this one for, this is my original one from a couple of years ago when they first released the shimmers. Maybe even, yeah. So it's slightly dry. I just keep a big old jug of distilled water on hand. If you use regular water, your paste will grow mold. So beware. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, so I'm just dipping my squeegee into the chalk paste. Hello, Mr. Chris. He's watching. You're watching from quarantine. Is this your last day, or do you have one more day? My father-in-law, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing, but he had a grueling 14-hour surgery 4 or 5 weeks ago. So he is in rehab getting stronger so that he can transition to his home eventually. So if you happen to do any praying, just keep him in your prayers. He's doing really well, but I'm sure he's bored off of his gourd because we can't come see him yet. But we'll definitely get to come see him this week, hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to do these top pieces. Today's your last day of quarantine. Woohoo! You're going to be sick of us seeing us then. Because we got to make up for lost time. Okay, so let's peel this off. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that one. Let's see if I can get a hold of these. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, I'm just going to spray this down while they're over here hanging out, waiting for me to clean them. Okay, so let me just bring these up. So there's that one. Subtle, very pretty. Very, very pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to dry these just quickly. You'll never get tired of us. Oh, we can put that to the test. I'm just drying these so that I can move them without messing them up. And then we'll work on our teal pair, and then we'll put them together. So, does anybody have any big Labor Day plans coming up? That's next weekend. Hashtag 3-day weekend. Woohoo! Anybody going to the River Festival here in town? We're not. I love the River Festival, but it's usually hot and there's too many people. But hopefully they'll have good weather. Okay, so let's bring in our teal pieces. Same process. I need 4 horizontal and 4 vertical. And we'll do the buffalo plaid. And this poor thing has been used so many times, it barely has any stick left to it. But so we'll have to go easy. Stacia says, no, there'll be too many people there. Probably. So many people missed it last year that they'll probably want to make up for not having it last year. I'm using Couture teal. This is my absolute favorite color on the teal pumpkin. Kind of going for a subtle monochromatic color. So I'm just dipping my squeegee in the chalk paste. And because this transfer isn't very sticky, I can still use it. I just have to have a little lighter hand so I don't move the transfer or bunch it up. And if I press too hard, because it's not very sticky, my chalk paste could seep through. Oh, I've got a bunch stuck on that. Try to get it. Okay. That one looks good. So then we'll do the one up here at the top. And again, we're not going for perfect. For one, these pieces won't be beside each other. And 2, I'm more interested in texture than I am the actual design. Plus, with this buffalo plaid, you rarely get. No, this time you can paint with the chalk paste by watering it down, but I have just a ton of acrylic paint, so I used this sunset color on the orange, and I used this patina color on the teal. But you could certainly paint with the chalk paste by watering it down. Ooh, I like that one. I'm going to have to make more of the teal ones to break out my second box of tower blocks. Okay. So here's what this one looks like. It's very pretty. Oops, kind of got a shadow. There you go. So we'll dry this one. So when you water down the chalk paste, you just kind of, And you can use regular water, distilled water. Just get it to where it's an acrylic paint-like consistency. It is fun to paint with because it dries super fast, just like a regular chalk paint would. And then you don't have to worry about buying bottles of paint. Okay. Let those hang out and dry a little more while we put these together. Okay. Except for when I did the herringbone, I forgot that some of these may have to be flipped the other way, but we'll make it work. I prefer to use this Tight Bond wood glue, but that's usually when I'm gluing raw wood. I also use this Beacon brand glue. We'll give the Tight Bond a try. It dries pretty fast for a wood glue, so we'll give it a try. So I usually try to put this side to this panel together and then this panel together, and then I will put the two panels together with these two side pieces. I'll just leave that there for reference. So again, I need my, and I may end up with some raw tops, just because I didn't take that into consideration when I could flip this one over, but then I know that'll work. It's enough of a, okay, so what you need two horizontal between one vertical. And you can, I usually just kind of line them up. That way I have an even opening. Hopefully I'm making sense. We'll see. Hopefully this non-painted surface will stick to the, oh, it is going to go to a non-surface. This one will be painted, so we'll see if it sticks. So then I just put glue on both of the sides on the side of each of the two horizontal blocks. And they don't have to be perfectly lined up because you'll cover them up with your stem and your Spanish moss. But then I need these two. Oops. Robin. There we go. Sometimes words and actions are hard all in the same day. So again, I'm just that's not, oh yeah, there we go. I'm still going to end up with a raw, I'll end up with a raw top, but I can fix that with paint. Don't mind the naked butt. Hopefully I don't get dinged for that, but okay, so we've got both of our panels together. I know this one's not quite dry, but we'll fill in with our two verticals. So I have a couple of raw tops. We'll just call them raw tops. So you can put them in as, you know, you don't have to put them in. You kind of do it however you want. If you want a long skinny pumpkin, you pull these two vertical pieces out farther. I just try to kind of go halfway. So I think this was the first panel I did. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here. I don't use a whole lot. We'll just put those two there, or that one there and that one there. Oops. That didn't work out well. That can go. No, it still didn't work out well. Okay, Robin. Oh well, we may have to paint some sides. Yeah, we're gonna have to paint some sides anyway. That's okay. I should have just painted all the sides. I was trying to cheat, and that doesn't work very well. So we have a few raw sides, but that's okay. Okay, so then we'll add glue to that piece, and we'll slide that together. And be careful if you get glue on your fingers and then start pressing it together, because the wet glue could reactivate your paste. And then you'll end up with fingerprints or smears. But there's what our pumpkin looks like. And I will have to go back and paint some of the sides, but that's not a big deal. And then I'm going to pretend that we already did this one, that it's already chalked. So then you're going to need a stem. These are the same twigs that I used for the fabric pumpkins that we made the other night. And this is from a twig out in my yard. And I am going to hot glue this. I do have my hot glue gun on. And it does stick. It goes in there pretty good. But I'm just going to add some hot glue to this twig. Excuse me. And I'm just going to jam it down in there and then hold it for a little bit. It's not a tight squeeze, but it could fall if I don't hold it. I did see where somebody else online made these, and they used an extra Jenga piece, and I probably would cut one in half, and they stained it kind of a dark wood. Of course, now that I have this together, it doesn't fit, but it should fit down in there to where you could use a Jenga block as your stem, but I didn't want to waste a Jenga block. And now that I have trees again, we have sticks aplenty for stems. So there is our pumpkin. So I'm going to add some Spanish moss, kind of like I did with this one. It helps to cover up the gaps where the pumpkin stem, the holes show through. So I'm just going to pull out some Spanish moss. This stuff is messy, so beware. And I'm just going to add some glue around the edge of this pumpkin. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to put a whole lot just because I don't want it to overwhelm the pumpkin. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Stacia. And then you can give him a haircut as needed. You want a few wild ones. They look cute with a few little wild ones, but okay. And then I always have this stash of fabric scraps. Like I have a few pieces of ribbon here that we could use. I definitely have this flannel that I will be using. And that's what I used on this piece. So I think, however, on this teal one, and these pieces are just bandanas that I got from the Hoblob that I tore into strips. This was an arrow bandana, and then this one has feathers on it. So we'll use these pieces on this pumpkin. So I'm just going to take one of the strips, and those stems were taller, but I think it'll still work. If you don't have twigs, I put 3 of these skinny twigs together, and these I actually purchased. They were in the Christmas section at the Hoblob, and I just glued 3 together, and they're probably about 3 inches long. I probably should have cut these twigs a little taller, but they'll just be, I guess I can, yeah, I shoved it down there a little more. Okay, so I have this tied on there, and then I think I'm going to cut these strips in half so they're a little shorter. I'll just put those 2 there and kind of crisscross them, and then I'll use kind of this minty color. If you've watched me for very long, 2 of my favorite things to use are yarn and fabric scraps. Okay, so I've got those crisscrossed, and then I'm just going to pull this tight, and it'll kind of cinch up those scraps and kind of make them poof out. That's a technical term. And you can dovetail the ends if you want. I don't always. Sometimes I just leave them plain. Sometimes I angle them. I'm just kind of going in. So there's that pumpkin. He's all dressed up and ready to go. Let's paint. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. Let's put another one together. I'll put the next one together. See if I can. Let's dry fit it first and make sure that. Oops. See if I can get one that's. Oh, he's still going to have a raw side. So is he. Okay, well, that's okay. We'll try this glue and see how well it works. No, I know this works, so we'll use it. Okay, so again, a little bit of glue. So we want 2 horizontal ones, and then we want a vertical one sandwiched in between. And then I'll do this panel, knocking my glue over. And I did not wax these. I probably should have, but I knew most of my transfers weren't very sticky, so there wasn't very much risk in pulling any fibers or some of the paint up. Also, this orange paint was it was fairly runny already, so it really soaked into the wood, so it didn't sit on top a lot. It's more kind of like a water wash paint. Okay, so then we're going to take this panel and we'll add our 2 end pieces. And I tell you, if you're looking for a wood glue that dries quick, this stuff, it beats Gorilla Glue any day, in my opinion. Okay, so then let's take this panel. stick that to itself. So there's our third pumpkin. So we'll let him dry a little bit. So yeah, go to Target, go to Five Below, go to Walmart. They have the Tumbling Tower blocks. Dollar Tree has mini Tumbling Tower blocks, so you could make a little baby pumpkin. They're about half as thick and about an inch tall, maybe inch and a quarter. Really cute little, so that you can make little baby pumpkins. Grab some sticks out of your yard. Get some scrap fabric, scrap ribbon, and you can make yourself some pumpkins. So I'm gonna hop off because I don't think you really want to watch me glue the other two together and then paint the raw ends. So I'm gonna hop off for the evening. I will be back on live again at 7:45 tomorrow night. I think this next week is going to be all Halloween. Oops, didn't know that one was on there. It's going to be Halloween all week, so I'll have projects on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:45 p.m. So again, thanks for watching this afternoon. I hope you all have a great evening, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great evening.